Hello, and welcome to Culture Clips. Today we're going to be viewing the culture of Javan Jonche from Nepal. Enjoy.
I'm from Nepal, and it's, for many of you who don't know it, it's in the middle of India and China, so it's quite suitably located right now.
Okay. Right in the
Right in the epicenter of everything that's happening at the moment, in the current span of things. Anything business related, anything big economically, we're in the middle of it.
So what is the language that you speak in Nepal?
It's predominantly Nepalese. Nepalese is actually it's just a it's a it's a it's a cut off from Sanskrit. So basically, anything that's directly related to Sanskrit, like Hindi, that the language that Indians speak, is to a certain extent understandable within Nepal. People from our country will understand Hindi. The predominant dialects, there are five or six predominant dialects, and each of them represent a different caste.
Okay. So for different caste
For
groups,
different caste groups, is a
Oh,
different
okay.
language.
Right. And what are the values in Nepal? What are the beliefs and values?
Values. It's one thing that's very similar uh, to Thailand. The Thai culture is respect for elderly. Uh, there's a whole system of beliefs and customs that we need to practice before approaching elderly people, like respect in general, like bowing your head. Down to an extent, there are some families that actually kneel down and actually touch the feet of the.
Really? How common is that?
Nowadays they don't practice it that much, but in some very uh, conservative families, it still is.
So what is the religion like? What is the religious scale?
The religious scale, it's tipping in favor of Hinduism because it's a predominantly Hindu state. It's a Hindu kingdom, and even if the minorities are there, are a few Buddhist and Christian minorities in Nepal, but even people who actually are part of those religions, those minority religions, will participate in Hindu practices, Hindu customs that are observed.
A few days later, we decide to head to a Hindu temple to see daily religious practice and prayer, and to really see how a Hindu temple is aesthetically and atmospherically.
Give a brief run through on how things are done inside the temple. How to burn an incense, if you didn't already know how to burn it. อันนี้กล้วยเท่าไหร่นะครับ
กล้วย30
30เหรอโอเคเอาอัน
เอา
นี้
กล้วยสุกนิดนึงยาย
โอเค
ดอกไม้ไม่เอาหรอคะเอาพวงอะไรมะพร้าวป่ะโคโคนัทมะพร้าวเอาไหมคะโคโคนัทนะโคโคนัท
แป๊บนึงครับ
เอาแล้ว
Huh? Yeah, I think that'll be better. 30นะ
จ้า30
ครับ30ขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
Okay. Very good to go.
Later, we asked JJ what the chants were about that we were hearing over and over again. He said that they were for good luck and good fortune. Aesthetically, a Hindu temple is actually very colorful and very bright.
What are some other cultural activities? Like, what are some other activities that
We
you do?
practice something very similar to Songkran as well. Yeah, there's a water festival. It's called Holi, where they just throw colors on each other and just douse ourselves in water.
Oh, that sounds fun.
That sounds fun until they've got very nasty ways of actually, throwing water. They actually pack water into a balloon, and then they actually go to the highest point of the building and just drop it off the building. So it just hits you with such force that you just don't like it anymore. It's not enjoyable. If it was just in your face, like spray
Yeah.
gun, colors throwing here and there, that'd be fun.
Yeah, but
But
then this is giant balloons.
This giant balloons is popping at a rate of God knows what. And yeah, it's painful. But other than that, it's all fun and games. The festival is there's nothing very stern about festivals until it's like for each and every day of the festival. I'll go more into it. First day is usually to honor your family, to honor things that mean the most to you. Like there's one day where you worship the goddess of prosperity, which is another form of Kali, the goddess of destruction. So she's basically, the many forms represent many things, and for one day we have to worship the goddess of prosperity. Other day we can worship anything that means a lot to us, like our car, which is very important. Obviously, our
Yes.
homes, any object that has a lot of value to us in our daily life, we'll actually pay our respects to that on a certain day. Then there's the third day where we pay respects to our brothers and sisters, and the other day is to pray for ourselves. We worship ourselves on a certain day, and the remaining days are usually just devoted to the goddess Lakshmi. Yeah, prosperity. Goddess
Okay.
of prosperity.
All right. So, what are some assumptions that come with your culture? Some like predispositions that people have when meeting you and you say, "Hello, I'm from Nepal."
They think I've conquered Mount Everest. Everyone thinks I conquered Mount Everest, or either that, or I'm either part of the Gorkha army, which is very popular amongst people who've just had a bit of knowledge about what the Gorkha Regiment did for Britain. And yeah, so I would like to say that not all Nepalese have the courage that Gorkhalids do. There's actually only a certain caste in Nepal that's fit for being a Gorkhali. They're the mountain tribes usually, and their physical disposition, they're very stocky, and usually that caste would be considered the warrior tribe in Nepal. So those would be only considered as people who would go into the Gorkha regiment. Whereas us, we're just normal citizens,
Not climbing Mount
not
Everest.
climbing Mount Everest, not fighting a war, not protecting people.
Oh.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's
Do you want to climb Mount Everest one day?
yeah. I've been to the base camp. I've
Really?
been to the base camp, and that's about it. I
okay.
have not trekked further than that.
When learning about a new culture, you become interested in their food and how they eat it. I later asked JJ to bring some for the crew and I to sample, and allow us to give our opinions of the flavors of Nepal.
Look into the culinary delights of Nepalese culture. Basically, I'm here with a basic Nepali set of dishes. You've got dal, which is a sort of leguminous dish, which most Nepalese use as a sort of a meal balancer. You have a lot of dishes here that are a mixture of spice and sour, and to balance that taste out is this dish here. It's made out of beans, lentils basically, and it's just lentils fried in deep onion and garlic base, and then hot water is added on later to create this sort of watery texture that we have here. And the next one is pork curry. Pork curry. The pork here is usually not many Nepalese will use lean pork, but for the sake of this example, we're using lean pork because it tastes better with lean pork. This is slightly less thick than the chicken curry we have here, but this is most Nepalese on a very limited budget. People who can't afford that many spices will stick to eating curries of this nature. Next, we have the big dish here. This is going to be the biggest, the most spicy dish among the rest of all of this. You have chicken curry, and it's very, very thick, very thick. It's not as thick as the Indian version of the chicken curry, because Indians usually use yogurt, milk, and sometimes even pure butter, and that gives there a richer texture to Indian curry. But Nepalese are not far off. Next we have stir fried beans. Stir fried beans usually Nepalese food sets will always consist of one vegetable. It has to be either, whether it be spinach, okras. Now in this case beans. There always has to be some sort of a vegetable dish on the side to make sure that everything is in some ways it makes it more of a balanced diet. Okay, then obviously I don't need to introduce this dish. Is rice here. So it's rice, and this is Nepalese pickle. It's slightly sour and spicy. You just take a bit of this and have it with the rest. And so I'll just go through a brief tasting ceremony on how you're supposed to actually eat all of this. So I'll just pull myself a stool here, and usually Nepalese they have their food with their hands, but for the sake of this example, I'm not going to use my hands. If you want me to show you how to use your hands, we can always get that done later. But for the sake of everyone who's watching, I'll show you how it's properly eaten. First, you take some side of rice, some dal, pour it onto the rice, and then don't mix both chicken and pork at the same time. You don't want to get that. And first you sample the pork, take a bit of the pickle, and in Nepali pickle is called achar. Remember achar, A-C-H-A-R, you spell it that way. And then a bit of the veggies here, and this is the totality. It goes all in your mouth. Good. Good stuff.
It's good.
Good.
Like if this one is spicy, right? So this one it make it more soft, like yeah, it make more sweet or make more lower spicy, and yeah.
ไม่เผ็ดมาก แต่ก็กินไม่ได้ ก็อร่อยดีก็มันก็เหมือนแกงกะหรี่ไทยอะแต่ว่ามันจืดกว่า อันนี้มันจืดๆเหมือนแบบทำมาให้กินคู่กันเฉยๆหวานๆอะผักหวาน
But it burns. But it's a good type of burn though.
Good type of burn. It's not.
I like it.
Nepal is quite a country of mystery. It's very shrouded in, and because when you hear about Nepal, the only thing you hear about are mountain ranges that they think is beautiful. But when you go to Nepal, you come to find out that it's in a state of disarray right now politically. It's been that way for quite some time, but I wouldn't want to suggest that you not go there.
Yeah.
It's a great tourist destination. I just want to tell you that it's not all of what it seems.
What are some advice you would give to a tourist going to Nepal?
Tourists going to Nepal.
Yeah.
Um,
What are some
Get a
cultural things
mosquito
they should
net.
know? That's true. Very
get
true.
get a mosquito net. That's one. If you want to go to Nepal, I'm like, for me especially, I've been staying outside Nepal for like 4 years. I haven't gone back to Nepal for quite some time, but for anyone right now who wants to go back to Nepal, I suggest you just don't go to the capital. Don't stay in the capital.
Don't stay in the capital.
Yeah. There's nothing in the capital that would excite you. That's not already in the place where you're coming from. I'm sure the place where you're coming from, I'm like the metropolis, your urban areas, suburban areas, there's much more to offer there than there is in our capital. So if you want to go to Nepal and venture, go trekking, go rafting, conquer Mount Everest, do something I haven't done before. So
Very nice.
exactly. So if you want to really enjoy Nepal for what it's worth, I suggest don't stay in the city. Go venture into different districts. There are 75 districts in Nepal, so there's a lot to explore. And there are 3 regions. There's the Himalayan region, and the middle is the agricultural region. It's called the Tarai region, and then there's The last region, I forgot what it was, but it's connected to India, so there's a lot of textile and a lot of cottage work,
All right.
usually in that area. You want to explore? Go to those 2 or 3 sectors outside the capital.
Okay.
Don't
so
stay in the capital.
Nowhere near the capital.
Yeah, it's too polluted. It's much cleaner air outside the capital.
I would like to thank JJ
Thank
here
you.
for talking with us and finding out more about his culture. And I hope you enjoy it. And thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye bye.